I have a friend who's a therapist, and he often comes back to the following quote. He says, "Our past is not something to live in, it's rather something to learn from." And that reflects a lot of the work he does as a therapist, walking with people, helping them unpack their pasts, not as something to get stuck in, but to actually to open them up to growth and wisdom and insight and maturity. And those words pack a punch for me, if I'm honest with you. I've done work at different seasons in my life in therapy and had to look at my past and how I typically react and respond to things and work through that to come to some growth and wisdom and insight and maturity in my life. In some ways, it's very different than the work my friend who's a therapist does, but it is similar. As a priest, I've walked with countless people who have been caught up in their past and trying to not so much get stuck in them and live in them, but to help open doors so they could learn from and grow out of those pasts. Even we as communities of faith can be really good at falling into that trap of getting stuck in our pasts. We joke here at St. Luke's. We can do that real easily at a church when we look back to the glory days, when the church was full and there were several masses on a weekend and even more than one priest and all sorts of teams and guilds alive and at work, and Sunday school was full of kids and the budget was balanced so easily and effortlessly year after year. Now we're a redevelopment, and there's a lot of uncertainty in that, but a lot of beautiful dynamism and all of that here. And when somebody comes to the parish and they have new ideas and new energy, there can be an initial tendency to want to respond to those new ideas and that new energy with a sense of like, whoa, we've never done it like that before. Or this is how we've always done it here at St. Luke's. And we run the risk then of stifling all of that wonderful energy and growth. Scripture seems to understand well our struggle with getting caught up in our pasts and wanting to live there instead of learn from them. I think of the story of Exodus, when the people are liberated from slavery in Egypt, only to start to complain against God and Moses and want to go back to Egypt because at least there it was predictable. But the gift of it all is that Scripture, while understanding our struggle to want to live in our past and get stuck there at times, offers us a gift in a different lens through which to see our past. Much like the lens my friend who's a therapist offers to people, which is to see our past not as something to live in, but as a gift to learn from and grow from, even our setbacks and struggles. In that light, I think of a psalm like Psalm 78, which invites us to look back honestly at our ancestors in faith and all of their stubbornness and short-sightedness and selfishness, and yet how even in the midst of all of that, love and life and light and grace were at work sustaining them, all so that we can maybe learn from that and live more firmly rooted in that love and light and grace that sustains us too. And then that is a holy invitation for all of us to pause and pray today, especially if you're like me and who struggles at times with feeling like we're stuck in our past. To view our past honestly through the lens of Scripture today, to see it not as a trap that is meant to contain us, but as a source of all sorts of wonderful opportunities for growth and grace and mercy and maturity and wisdom to take root. But the truth is, none of that can take root without some help. It's why we need therapists at times, or really supportive spiritual directors or friends or mentors or communities of faith. But through all of those holy instruments, we come to find the gift that when we look back even on our stumbles and our struggles and our heartache, we still somehow find love and grace at work, even if in the faintest of ways. And in that we find the love and grace needed to live more deeply and love more deeply in the present, and to live and love more hopefully into an unfolding future. God's peace and blessings to you all.